Hi everyone, it's Michelle with Craft with MV. Well, I'm working on my first Christmas card. Here it is. I do 2 different Christmas cards. This is my Beachy card for my friends in the warm climates. Let's get started. Items going to be using Beachy Little Christmas Set. I'm going to be using the tree off of that. There are sayings here. You could have yourself a Beachy Little Christmas. Who needs snowflakes when you have seashells? Those are cute sayings. I'm not using those sayings for the card though. From the Magic Mermaid set, I'm using the little sand stuff with the shells and things. And then I'm using the Seaside embossing folder. And I'm using the Merry Christmas statement from a retired set. I wanted to say Merry Christmas, but like I said, there's other great sentiments you can use and you can adjust accordingly, but we'll go through that when we say. I'm using Old Olive ink, Pool Party, and Crumb Cake inks. I'm using the thin sheer ribbon and Old Olive. I am using my banner punch, triple banner punch, and the Wink of Stella. The paper you're going to need is in Crumb Cake, 8.5 by 11, scored at 4 1/4. You're going to need a piece of 4.5 by 3 3/4, and then a piece 3/4 by like 3 1/4. I have it longer, and I'll explain why later. For vanilla, we're going to need 5 1/4 by 4, 4 by 1. Whoops, this is a 4 by 1, and then this is a 4 by 3. And then Pool Party, I have 5 by 3 3/4. So those are all the card stacks we're going to need. I'm going to put that off to the side. First thing I'm going to do is my big shot work. So I'm going to use the embossing folder, and since I want the waves going across the card, I'm going to place my paper in this way, and I'll go to the big shot in a second and do that. And the other thing, I'm going to stamp my sentiment quick, and I'm using Old Olive for that. So we're just going to stamp it, and that's, so like I said, you can use any, and you can adjust the size of your banner to match the size of your sentiment. So I'm just going to center that best I can. Okay, well it's a little crooked, but I'm going to be using a die too. I'm using a die from an old, not an old, a retired set. It's called a gift card envelope and framelit. So if you have the set, you can use the die. Otherwise, I would cut the sheet to be maybe a 1/2 inch, and then use the banner punch, which I'll show you on the other piece. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out my do my 2 big shot items that I need to do, and I'll be right back. So I've gone ahead and let me just close my ink pad, sorry. I've gone ahead and you can see I embossed the Pool Party, and then I did the Merry Christmas. You're going to be taking the 3 3/4 by 3 3/4 sheet, and that's, you're going to be, I hope I'm explaining myself here, putting this in the center of that, like so. The reason I have it longer is because sometimes I don't always get it straight, but I'll show you how the punch works. So I'm just going to place it in the center, and then get it so that it's even and straight and in the center. Hold on. Okay. So there you have it. What I'm going to do is trim off the other end when I put it on. The reason I do that is if I don't make it exactly right, I can fix it and still have room to work with it. Now, if you don't have the triple cut banner punch, you can use scissors. And the way you do scissors, and I'll just show it on a piece of paper here. If you cut in the center of it and go from side to side, you can make a banner end. The other thing you can do is if you have a square punch, you go in the corner of the square punch, and it gives you the same effect too. So, but it's nice kind of to have the punch that does it, because you can do different sizes and things. So those things I'm going to put to the side. Now we're going to start with the, well, let's build the card a little bit. We're going to put this piece on the vanilla. We'll do that quick. I'm just using the fast fuse. Now that we can place on our card base, because we're going to be popping up the other items. Okay, now we can set that aside. Since we got the fast fuse out, we might as well finish this off. Now let me just get my snips here. So I want it. Okay. Good. Okay. So you see I just cut off what I didn't need. I'm just going to center it on the one end. Just work it down the middle. Okay. So that can go off to the side. We've got that done. Now we're going to be stamping our image. So what I'm going to start with first is the sand looking pieces, and I'm going to be doing that in the Crumb Cake. So I'm just going to stamp this up. I'm going to turn it this way so it's right. And because I want it to be very, very light in the background, I'm going to be stamping it off. And then I'll just stamp it here. And maybe I'll stamp it again. Stamp it again. So there, I think that's good enough. We've got plenty on there. So now we're going to go ahead and stamp the tree. Let me close the pen. We're going to do the tree in the old olive. Make sure it gets all in there. Okay. I'm going to stamp it a little closer to the top just because we're going to be covering the bottom a little bit with the banner. So center it and press down. Good. So that's our tree. Now what I'm going to do is I have these little aqua pens, which Stampin' Up is getting aqua pens, so you'll be able to purchase them in a little bit, but right now I'm just using the ones I have. So we're just gonna, I don't know if you can see, let me bring it a little closer. You can see there's like all little ornaments on this tree. I'm doing them in a like a pool party color, if you can see on here, because I kind of want it subtle. So I'm putting it, you know, pool party color. That's why I picked a pool party background. So I'm going to be putting, just filling these in with the blue. Okay, so I've done all the ornaments, and now I'm just going to do the dots in the bucket. And maybe the handle. Make the handle blue too this time. Okay. Now I'm going to use a lighter, like pinkish color, like a reddish pink color, but very light. I want it to be very subtle, so that's why I picked these colors. So I'll just fill in the inside there. Okay. I am going to put Wink of Stella. Oops, let me close my ink pad. I'm going to put Wink of Stella on the ornaments and some of the branches so they got a little bling to them. Again, let me show you the original one. I don't know if you could see it, but I have Wink of Stella on there. It sparkles. So now we've got that done, we're going to be putting this on the other piece of crumb cake matting, and we'll do that with the fast fuse. Go a little more towards the top because I'm going to be covering the bottom a little bit. Now I'm going to be using Dimensionals on the back of this to pop it up. Now I'm going to be putting this in the center, but I'm going to go up a little higher because I got my sentiment, you know, covering some of the bottom. So I placed it towards the top half of a little, you know, it's not exactly centered. As you can see, I have a little less up there than I do down here. But that is because I'm going to be taking our sentiment and putting it in. And I'm going to kind of curl this a little bit. And I'm going to be putting a dimensional on one end and just a glue dot on the other. Let's see. Right there. Okay. So I'm going to put that like the bottom here. Kind of line it up with the on one side. Just kind of give it a little body, make a little center. And then I'm going to take the bow. I made a bow out of the super fine. And I'm just going to, that's the better side, put a glue dot on it. And just place it in the corner here. Okay, and if you want to make it smaller, cover it, cut the ends more, you can do that. That's it. So there we are. Get all this stuff out of the way. So again, it's not a hard card. It's a simple card. I kind of like my simple, you know, I don't have a lot of time, like I've told you. I take care of a loved one. So I don't exactly have a lot of time, but that is the two versions. This one I did a little heavier on the ink, and that one's a little lighter on the ink. See, that's the difference with those two. And I think that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. I am a Stampin' Up demonstrator. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. As I said, I am a Stampin' Up demonstrator. And listed below, I've listed all the supplies used. I also have a blog, which is listed below, where you can get a full set of instructions. And again, I use the Merry Christmas sentiment. You can use whatever sentiment you want. And the only thing you would need to do if you decide to do this type of label, you can do any label you want. But if you decide to do this type of label and you need more room, you just widen out the sizes. I mean, that's all you have to do. And the label doesn't necessarily be at the bottom. You can have it go across the top. You can have it go on an angle. So there's so many possibilities. Again, what I'm doing is an idea, and you just take it and run with it. Again, thanks for watching. God bless.